Hello there and welcome back to The Closet Historian and back to my ongoing living room project. I know I'm here in the sewing parlor right now, but that's just because I've been sewing over on Patreon, even though I haven't been able to get any sewing done here on the channel. And that was just because I was trying to finish up this room in time for my family to visit, and they are actually visiting as you are watching this now. And actually, I believe as you are watching this, it is my 34th birthday. Is the 10th on a Thursday? But anyhow, you've waited long enough to see how this room came out, and I've certainly waited long enough to see how it was going to come together, so we better go ahead and dive on in. All right, pals, it's time to go ahead and extend the stenciling and the painting onto the two largest walls in here. Now, unfortunately, I will say, there's gonna be a mirror and sconces either side of it, covering a lot of what we're about to do on this wall, and I'm actually going to be hanging a Forêt kimono on this wall above the couch. So a lot of what I do on this wall will not be seen, but we're going to paint it anyway, so that if I, for whatever reason, don't want to have a kimono up, it will still be pretty. And over here, eventually I actually want to build a like Victorian inspired Gothic ridiculous cat tree for the Gubins, of which there is one there. But that is a project that's probably a year off. So for now, we're going to go ahead and paint. Unfortunately, because that gaff tape is so strong, I have to wait for the last bit to dry completely before I put up the next bit, which will slow us down. So I'm gonna do like the next bit of this, and then I'll continue putting bushes around the rest of the room and like the underlayer of petals like these, while I do each section of this incrementally moving along the wall. And we'll see how much I can get done today. I'm hoping to get a bunch done today because I would love to be able to move on from the stenciling portion, and without having to move the ladder around anymore, I could clear this room out entirely, clean this floor, and paint it black, which will really help with our color scheme because this burgundy is really no longer the vibe. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and I'll try and remember to give you progress updates as I go. Okay, I have gotten further along this wall with along the ceiling, I guess, of this wall with the border design. This part takes the longest because I have to wait again for things to dry before I can put up the next piece. And it takes a little bit longer. But while I've been working on that, I've been extending the leaves all the way around the room. So I just have this one little section up there to do at the top. I've done my bottom leaves here, and some of the bushes stick up a little bit further. I just stacked my stencil and repeated that. The stencil is a full repeat, so I can technically cover the whole wall with that if I wanted to. I would preferably like a larger stencil if I was going to do that, but this was like the leftover bit of material after cutting out a 12-inch wide stencil. So I was using all my last bits of stencil material because I'm actually out of this clear material right now, and I'm too skint to order another roll because of reasons. I would rather spend money on antiques and silly chandeliers, etc. So here are my bushes along the bottom of that wall. I have also put bushes along the bottom of this wall, and I've done a couple of bump ups, even though mostly it will not be seen because the couch will be up against that. But if I ever decide to rearrange the furniture in here, it'll be good to have the full mural going on. And I do have to finish the leaves along the top of this wall as well. So I have these little areas to finish up as I continue stenciling the ceiling. I'm hoping to reach that corner and then, go across all of this. So and then figure out what I'm going to do above the windows as well. So lots to do there. Over here in the window air conditioner unit area, I did have a tiny bit of wall space, so I did a little bit of tall plant grass nonsense on those tiny strips of wall as well to match in with what I have going on elsewhere. These again are plants directly inspired by, or like leaves directly inspired by Ivan Earle's background works for Sleeping Beauty. In fact, this whole mural at this point is quite inspired by all of that. I spoke last time about the other influences that are also behind this design, but practically as I'm doing this, I'm mostly referencing Ivan Earle's work for Sleeping Beauty. Okay, I now have the darker arsenic trees in place as well. Again, these are all kind of asymmetrically put up there. It's just decided, randomly by me, which is the same as I did for the lighter colored trees in the background here as well. These, all I do is I just draw a line where I want the tree trunk with a level, and then I follow that line with a paintbrush as best as I can, widen out a little bit at the bottom. The dark trees are on the outs, are like closer to us, so those, I do the trunk all the way to the bottom. The other trees are supposed to like fade into the background, so they don't go underneath the leaves or above the leaves. They're just in between. So here is this background as of right now. I still need to do the olive colored leaves on top, as well as do in the different branchy leafy thingies at the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in the details on the bottom here while I wait for the last little bit of stenciled border up here. Then I'll do the next piece, draw some more leafies, do the next piece, wait for things to dry, etc., 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 and just keep going along as best I can. I don't think I'm gonna get as much done today as I had hoped, but that's what tomorrow is for, I suppose. Some leafy bits. The key here is to have the leaves be symmetrical, or like just meet in a very geometric fashion rather. Not exactly symmetrical. Also, these kind of look like mustaches, and now you all can see that and that's all you'll ever see. So I'm sorry about that. Mostly, I apologize to myself for telling you that, really. But here's my little leafies in this. Again, it looks gray. I promise it's just a darker version of this color. Like color theory, man. That is the exact same color. It occurs to me I have not updated you in a minute, so let me go ahead and update you. This wall here got its darker trees on top of the light trees. And then I did some plants here on the bottom. Just a few in that, again, darker arsenic color, and then a few in the olive. These are just, again, plants based off of little sketchy things in Ivan Earle's work for Sleeping Beauty. And I did the same over here. So again, on this wall, I finished off with the plants and the trees. And as you can see, I've got the border halfway across this wall now. I need to get it across the rest of this wall and then up above these windows over here as well. So I have to continue my border onwards, but I did actually start working on some stars last night. So here are what the stars are looking like. I still have quite a ways to go there, but I started putting up some stars like so. I think I'm going to just do gold leaf on the stars like around the center and have it just be the gold paint out here because I really like the way it looks actually. So I think the shine will emanate from the chandelier and then fade away, which makes sense, I think. But I do have a little Sophie guarding the stepladder to keep me company. Oliver is also here. And the orange is just yelling at us for ignoring him. But we're all just down here and he can come down here if he wants to. So I don't know what Xander's problem is, but ain't that always the way. And I do have some smaller star stencils, as in the stars are smaller, but also the stencils are smaller. And then I have two like sheet stencils that have a spattering of stars. So I have this one, and then I have a slightly smaller selection of stars that I can put up a bunch at once to sort of fill in more space all in one go. And then I can like vary the density, I suppose, and the size and the style of star. As you can see, I have very different stars. I have these like 8, 10, 12 pointed stars. I have the traditional 5 pointers. I have a couple of 4 pointed stars in here, 8 pointed stars. There's all kinds of stars. The idea is to have the full variety. Oh, the orange is here to yell at me in person. What do you need to yell at me for, Mr. Zammies? Get back here. Xander, where are you going? As you can see, the floor is still a disaster, but one thing at a time. I have gotten all the way around the room with the ceiling stencil. I have gotten stars onto this side of the room. Obviously this bit of the sky needs a lot more work. Sorry if I'm giving anyone weird vertigo here. Imagine me trying with my neck craned all day up here. I'm now going ahead and extending the final olive green border. I'm going to go ahead and take that around the room as well, while I also add on more stars depending on how my neck feels. But that is the plan for the day. I also did my plants on this wall. I just did these free-handed, by the way. Like they look fine from over here, but if you get close, I mean, they're just freehand painted there. They're not stenciled, but mostly there will be a couch covering a lot of that. So, you know, also most of this wall is going to have a kimono hanging on it, but I digress. I did actually get my samples from Silk Baron, so I'll go over there and talk about those. This fabric I just want for making a blouse because, what's going on there? It's so delicious. I don't even want to tell you what color it is in case you buy it all before I can get some, because I can't afford to get any right now, but it's like an indigo purple and green and delicious. This one is Jade Dupioni. It is Kelly green one way and sort of silvery mint the other. It matches very well, but I do kind of prefer these. This one is Meadow, and this is a silk taffeta. It is olive green and the minty aqua. And then we have similar colors, probably opposite, like warp and weft here in Mermaid, which is also a Dupioni with that olive and aqua shift. Now this is a little bit more saturated, obviously, than the room itself, but I kind of want to use this in the windows because light coming through this, I held it up over here, and light coming through it gives me the kind of like stained glass look I would like for these windows. I wish these windows were this color glass. So I think I might use these for the blinds over there and probably for like a pillow over here. But I think actually for the curtain that is blocking this room from the hideous kitchen and sad pantry area and laundry area. I think I actually want to do this fabric reversed with this one. So if I decide, you know, oh, I want to have a cooler, more subdued mood, or if I'm in a more warm olivey mood, I can just flip the curtain around and decide on the fly. So these are my curtain thoughts. I cannot afford to actually buy said curtain fabric right now, so we'll see how it goes. But now I have to get back to this. Luckily, I'll be able to start working on more than one bit now that I've switched over to the olive green, which looks like kind of dark gold up here, but I can just keep going on 2 walls at once, switching back and forth between the 2 borders. That way I can get this all hopefully done this afternoon, finish my stars, and then I can paint the floor. Pals, I did 2 coats on the floor. It's dry, it's not set completely because this takes 30 days to fully set and we don't have that kind of time. So we move things into place before then. That's such is life. Here is the walls and the ceiling all finished and ready to go. I have my mirror hanging up on the hook that was originally there. This is neither in line, like symmetrical with the chandelier, nor like perfectly like in the middle of the wall. It's not in the middle of this wall. It's not in the middle of from here to here. Like it's chilling. And that would be kind of fine, except for I'm gonna put a settee underneath it that I may or may not have like lined up symmetrically. And then I have 2 sconces I want to put either side. So like we're drawing a little bit of too much attention to the fact that this is completely off center. So yeah, we'll see. But I have the couch pushed up against the wall for now so that I can see where I want to hang the kimono above it. So I'll try that. Again, it's gonna cover a lot of this mural. I apologize, I agree, I like the mural a lot, but I like the idea of being able to display some kimono a lot as well. Then we have the bookcases. I've put them in place. One goes over here. Oliver's testing the red rug pad, as you can see. He will now smell like recycled polyester, which is great for everyone in the house, mostly me. And then the other bookcase is on this side, like so, which keeps things, again, symmetrical from here and here, like looking the other direction, I guess. But we would be looking out windows, and I don't have any curtains for these windows right now. So one thing at a darn time. I also do need a different curtain for in here. I can't exactly decide on the silks, and I certainly can't afford them, so holding off on that for now. I do believe I told you last time that I would be using the rug that I had originally purchased for this room, but I rolled it out a little bit in here, and the room deserves better, okay? This room is way too fun to have a rug that clashed that badly. So luckily I was able to find something on sale for $120. That was 8 by 10 that will fit in here. It should arrive, well, it was supposed to arrive today, which is why I've started putting things back together, but it's actually not going to arrive until tomorrow. But I will go ahead and try a few things out in here, try some layout stuff out. Again, try and hang my sconces, try and hang the, what's it called? The kimono over here. While I'm waiting for said rug, I can't, of course, bring everything in here yet, which is what I was hoping to do today, is to actually start styling this room. But alas, FedEx had other ideas. So that'll have to wait till tomorrow, but I'll show you some progress later if I make any. Also, I have been working on the tiny hallway outside of this room, in that I painted it matte black. Yummy. Painted the trim out here. I've actually put a little bit of additional trim onto this bathroom door. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny powder room under the stairs. I'm going to go ahead and paint this door with leftover blue paint. I have some, this is the flat finish on the ceiling. I have some in the matte finish, so I'll go ahead and use the slightly shinier matte on here. If I still had any of the semi-gloss left, I would use that, but I do not. And we're all about using things that I already own at this point because, again, the cashola, she's no longer flowing. I will go ahead and paint this a bold jewel tone in here, just for funsies. You can see it's already sitting here ready to go. And I would love to go ahead and clean and paint the rest of the floor, but as you can see, my house is a disaster zone because all the stuff that's supposed to go in this living room is still dispersed throughout the house. So whether or not I will be able to paint the floor in here black, probably a while off. Inspection of the rug padding continues as expected. I'm actually going to run out of the house right now. I need to go try and find an 8x10 frame. Don't eat random They're eating random bits of fluff, of course. I need to go and try and find an 8x10 frame for a photo that I like to have on one of the bookcases in here. And I need to go get these goobers some cat food because the specialty cat food place, the specialty pet store nearby, was closed yesterday for the 4th of July. And these guys don't have their regular blend, and I've been receiving complaints. So once again, my automatic ordering of their food is just like a tiny bit off kilter. So it's just a few days skewed enough that I have to always go and buy some, as opposed to just rely on Chewy delivering it, not Spawn. What do you think you're doing, young lady? What do you think you're doing? Look at other people. They want to see your cute little face. Well, now you're upside down, so I don't think that counts. Look at these Viskies. Those are some serious Viskies mooping. Pretty lady. This one likes to wake me up at 5 a.m. these days. It's very nice of her. No one's told her that I'm a night owl and that I don't appreciate that. Do I? No, I do not. That's not very nice to do. Yeah. Okay, I've been trying to put the room together, but I needed to hang up the curtain rod here to be able to hang the kimono behind the couch. I've hung this at about 65 inches or so above the couch, so that the hem of the kimono should just tuck behind the couch. We'll see how the cats handle that. If I have to raise it up, I guess I can. Hopefully it'll be okay. I'd rather not have the hem of the kimono hanging with space above the couch. I don't know why. I just feel like it's better if it tucks behind the back of the pillows, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see how this goes. I will say the fact, well, the creepy ice cream truck's going on outside. You probably can't hear that, but I can. But the fact that I don't own a steamer is a problem. Now, when you see these displayed, often they have these little clips, and it's on a stand that has side posts, and the clip will hold the rest of the kimono out. I want to try and replicate this by getting those clips and then putting little hooks on the wall to hook the clip to. However, the clips are like $100. So I'm thinking of getting like sweater clips and using those instead. So I have to arrange that situation. But for now, here is this blue and gold and floral Forêt day on the wall above the couch, which is still covered in plastic because my cats love the couch too much. But I think what I'm going to do now is attempt to make a huge couch cover. If you've ever seen the drop cloth covers for couches, that's kind of the idea here. I'm not going to make a fitted slip cover. I'm just going to make a giant throw blanket, basically, that I can use to cover the entire couch to hopefully deter them from scratching it too terribly, or at least make it so that I don't have to worry about it all the time, because I don't want to have to keep my couch covered in anything other than something pretty. So we'll see how that goes. Alas, my family arrived tomorrow and the room may be done, but now I have to clean the rest of my house somehow in like 12 hours. But it was probably worth it, right? Because this is a pretty fun time. At least I think so. So here is the rug that I picked up to be like my temporary rug in this room. It's quite nice. The color tone of the turquoise is not exactly perfect. I need something that's a little bit more green tone to match the arsenic of the walls. But at night, you definitely can't tell. So it's only going to bother me during the day. And it's otherwise a quite fun rug, especially for only $120 for an 8x10 rug. It's not a real one, but we'll save up for the real rug later on. And here is my Facebook Marketplace table that I spray painted black. She's doing well. Of course, mainly I just wanted something long enough for this 80-inch couch. If this was a couple inches wider, that'd probably be better. Whatever. It's nice and black now and covered with coffee table books, which is the real point in life. And it serves as somewhere I can put lots of cloisonne, which of course I like cloisonné. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a huge fan. This piece my mom and I picked up last time she was here. This piece I shouldn't have bought when I was at an antique store in Ballston Spa recently. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has dragons. It's green. What am I going to do? These are some pretty bowls me and my mom got one time. This is a toothpick holder that I'm using for spent matches. This is a really pretty black and gold lacquer tray that has like an Art Nouveau pattern on it. I think it's probably from the 70s or 80s. I think it's super fun. Got some matches and of course the remote for the fake candles that are over here on this wall. These are fake tapers in my sconces that again were a Facebook Marketplace find. So I can go ahead and turn those off and on with the remote, which is nice and of course much safer than having real candles. I have my antiqued mirror here. I did end up putting a little bit of gold leaf on the decorative medallion-y bit of that. And that rest of the mirror has a little bit of gold just stuck to it now, even though I didn't put glue everywhere. Gold leaf, it sticks to everything, that's the fact. This little kind of barley twist mauve colored velvet settee is something that I picked up back in Colorado. Of course, we have the little Sherpa cat mat underneath in case they decide to join me here. I wanted to make it comfortable for them as well. Of course, we will make something out of like delicious velvet, some spare purple velvet or something that matches a bit better and is a bit more, I don't know, 18th century Pomeranian coated for my lovely cats here. This is a little Victorian table. It's got some excellent like finial nonsense going on that I grabbed at an antique store up in Glens Falls, like north of Saratoga Springs. This is a faux blue and white buddy that I just have giant matches in. This is a silver plated box that's keeping the remote control for the aircon in it. And we have some old books here and a lantern. And I really like the way the blue door coordinates with the blue of the ceiling in here from the black hallway. I think that turned out quite fun. I did in the end up finding my semi-gloss of the dark royal blue. So I did a coat of semi-gloss on top of that for a little bit of a shinier look. None of the plaster, any of the surfaces going on in there. The door has been painted too many times. The walls are a mess. So it was never going to be a perfect finish anyway. So imagine that like a perfectly shiny lacquered door. In the world where I have a bajillion dollars, that's what it would be. But instead we're in this world, I guess. And here is my starry ceiling all finished up. I did end up putting lots of extra tiny stars and little like tiny circle dot stars here near the center, just so that things got quite concentrated near the center of the room where the light fixture is here. And I did those smallest little dots with the end of a pencil eraser. So I just stuck the end of a pencil, the eraser, into paint and then stuck it onto the ceiling like so to create those tiny little circle stars, which I think worked quite well. But overall, I'm very happy with how the stenciling and hand painting combo came out in this room. It was a lot of work, but I think it was probably worth it. Now over here on this wall, I do have a temporary curtain. This is just some fabric I had in my stash that happened to coordinate quite well with the olive and aqua color scheme in here. So I threw together a quick curtain yesterday to cover up that space because nobody wants to see the very unfortunate kitchen and laundry room beyond that. So we got to block that off. And then we have the Forêt kimono here from Japan that I ordered online probably over a year ago. This actually was one of the very first things I bought for the house. So I knew I wanted this to go somewhere. I was thinking originally up in my bedroom, but in the end I needed more storage and a desk up in my bedroom. So it ended up here in the living area. And there's a Sophia here to inspect everything as always. I do want to get those clips that I was mentioning that kind of hold out the sides, but I'll work on that as I continue refining this room, including, you know, getting a different curtain and doing curtains or window treatments as well. But over here, I also have the first etagere bookcase, etagere. This one has like embroidery and stitching and textile reference books. This is like interior and curtain reference books. And then of course, a bunch of Montgomery Ward's catalogs, as we can see. And then lots of knickknacks, an African kudu horn that I picked up in London last time, a different sort of horn that I picked up while in London, some Japanese lacquer vases, a Japanese folding fan, and a very beautiful mounted, like silver mounted abalone shell that was a gift. By the way, when I was talking about making a couch cover, these two cushions are just the cushions for the actual couch. This is the same purple velvet that I used to do these shieldy chairs over here. that we may remember from the last video. I used that same velvet and I cut 2 4-yard sections and sewed them down the middle. And I thought 4 yards would be enough to go ahead and hang down all the way on this side and hang down all the way on this other side. But I was wrong. I thought that was enough excess. Incorrect. So this does not hang all the way to the floor. So I had to slice an extra yard and tuck it up in there. This is all just so that my cats won't scratch the actual couch because they're menaces, and that's that. So we have a drapey purple, slightly clashy couch, and that's how it's got to be just because cats. And cats are an important part of life, so These pillows are unfortunately from Amazon. These pillowcase covers are just so pretty. I got recommended them. They got recommended to me randomly. I wish I could find this fabric by the yard, especially because it's got a little bit of purple in it, which just means it works perfectly for me. I wish I could find this fabric by the yard. It's obviously coming out of China somewhere. So if anyone's ever seen this fabric by the yard, let me know because of reasons. I have an Uzbek silk pillowcase here with some extra trim I added on for funsies because we needed a little bit of trim and texture over here since none of these pillows had it. And we need to keep the variety going. Closer look at some of the stuff on this shelf. Again, most of this here were gifts. This was a gift. This is a gift. That was a gift. This was a gift. Hello, by the way. This is actually a Lalique vase. It's not an old one. It's a reissue of a 1950s design, I think it was, that was reissued in the 1980s. I picked this up. It does have a small chip. I don't remember where. I think it's somewhere on the rim. I don't remember. It does have a small chip, but it's an actual Lalique. It's got its little Lalique sticker. And I found that at the Arc thrift store in Colorado for $4.99 on my birthday one year. Which, I mean, does it get any better than finding real Lalique on your birthday? No, it doesn't. So that's very fun, and the Lalique is living here. Here next to the aircon station, I do have some Carnival glass canisters that have a little bit of candy in them, but we could probably re-up the candy situation. And I have this vase that's kind of cobalt glass at the bottom and then fades to like the amethyst at the top. It's just an absolutely gorgeous purple glass vase here that I picked up at an antique store in Colorado. This table was also a Colorado find that came with me all the way here. It's a nice Victorian table buddy here with a marble top. Now, a bit of an elephant in the room here is this absolutely amazing globy globe 1890s lamp. I assume this one is actually from the 1890s because unlike the one I have in the hallway or like in the foyer, this buddy has been converted to electric and it's been done poorly, like as in they didn't bother to run this through here. This section here actually is an oil lamp fitting. So I think this originally was an oil lamp and it was converted to electric, which makes me think this one is actually from around the turn of the century or around the same era as this house. It may be from as late as the 1920s or 30s. They still had oil lamps going on then. Not everybody had electricity in the house, that's for sure. Oh, the aircon just went off. But I had seen this lamp at an antique store in Ballston Spa, New York. And I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Whatever it is about these globe lamps, when the globe, like hand for scale, this thing is probably 14 inches around. It's, if not more, it's gargantuan. It's like a huge beach ball of glass. Obviously, again, I have a LED color change bulb in there because it's me. But this, I just felt like this lamp deserved, or the house deserved the lamp, something that was actually slightly historically accurate for this very wackadoodle room, you know? An eclectic, maximalist, Sleeping Beauty inspired room. I thought the house, being from 1890, deserved something from 1890, as it were. Either that or this is just my excuse to buy this very fancy lamp. Now, this lamp, I've seen stuff like this for around $600 to $1,600 on the internet, on Cherish, on First Dibs, etc. This buddy was way over the price range of what I should be spending on anything at $190. So I grabbed this, I think it was $195. For $195 at a, in general, slightly overpriced antique store in Ballston Spa. I would like to have it rewired by someone a little bit more professional than whoever did it the first time. especially because the plug on the end of this is very amateur. It's probably like a 40s plug. It's not a good plug anymore. So I don't know how long ago this was rewired. Luckily, I don't have a lot of energy demands on this. A small LED chandelier bulb is not causing a lot of problems in there. But one day I'll have this rewired because nobody wants to see this cord. I have it like tied to the lamp so that we don't have to look at it very much. But I love lamp. I know I say it often, but I love lamp. We have our other Facebook Marketplace chairs, which of course still need to be recovered, but they are hanging out here with some more Ecot Uzbek silk pillowcases that tie in the color of the ceiling, bringing that down a little bit here with the royal blue. This other bookcase has most of my pattern drafting and sewing and fashion reference books. So this is all sewing and this is all fashion reference here. Then I have I have a little piece of a prop from the old set. I have some games, like very small games. I painted gourd from Mexico that my friend gave me when I was in Mexico for her wedding as a bridesmaid. And then I have speaking of weddings, wedding photograph of my parents, back from '88, baby. And I have some old curling irons, another gorgeous piece of cloisonne that my mom and I picked up here, a little jadeite vase, some more family photos and more books up here, and a fake plant. And then at the top of this case, again, just to add a little bit more height, I have a framed painting. Well, it's not a real painting, it's a print of a painting. And then an old suitcase that I've kept as a prop and used on set many times. And I got that at an antique shop down in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So that's living up here as well. And this is actually a Rifle Paper Company pillow that I received for Christmas. I think it was last year? No, the year before probably. In anticipation of one day using it in my house. And I think it looks great in here and helps tie in some of the pink from the kimono on this side over here. So it's all about not having things be matchy-matchy, but coordinate and call back to one another, I think is nice. I will actually link to where I grabbed these faux branches, by the way, because I think they do a pretty good job of looking like real branches. And I've been like on the hunt for fake plants that aren't awful. And I think these are pretty good stems, especially for the price, because a lot of faux stems are extremely expensive. So I will link those for you. And again, I have lots of fun stuff here on the coffee table, of course, candle. But these books are quite fun, especially because there was one splurge book that is a very expensive coffee table book, but it's probably worth it. Oh, this is a big boy from Taschen or however you pronounce this. So this is the big hardback Cabinet of Curiosities book, which is a like catalog of different cabinets of curiosities around the world and has all the most fun stuff in it. Let's face it, it's just delicious. And I would love more of these sort of items to put on my bookshelves as well, but in lieu of that, we'll stick with the book for now. But this is a very gorgeous book full of cabinets of curiosities, oddities, and beautiful European decorative arts, etc. So this was a very fun one to go ahead and flip through, but this was, you know, kind of a housewarming present to myself because it's a pricey book. And on top of that, I just have some old magazines and then 4 little kittens, which also was a present as well. And some old dominoes. I wanted to get some dominoes because my family liked to play dominoes. Not that I remember how, it's been too long. But I decided to go ahead and get vintage ones because the packaging was so much cooler. Here I just have this smoky quartz crystal that I picked up while waiting for a tattoo appointment one time at Ritual Craft in Colorado, because you can't wait for your appointment next door without popping into Ritual Craft. And that store actually recently got struck by lightning, so that's dangerous and fun. But this side has the purple chairs that I upholstered here. Again, world's most professional job ever? Probably not, but I think they're functioning quite well. And again, are helping to mirror the purple on the other side of the room here. Do I think I could get away with a different color of furniture in here? Yes, the purple adds, you know, another color to the already, I don't know, kind of crowded scheme. But because these are all analogous colors, meaning that they follow one another on the color wheel, they're all in the same, like, they're all on the same side of the pie of the color wheel. They all are harmonized quite well, as opposed to something that's quite contrasting, which you can also do contrasting color schemes as well. But personally, I like to keep things quite analogous for my own spaces at this point. Mostly just because I love green, blue, and purple. which I think we can probably tell at this point. And I do enjoy the view from this room into the next one. Although this ceiling looks so light, even though it's the same color, the arsenic, I have to go ahead and decorate that ceiling in there somehow. But after doing this one, I'm not necessarily looking forward to it. But in general, I'm quite happy with how this has come together for now. There are, of course, tweaks and things I would like to add or kind of upgrade over time. I would like to upgrade the rug situation and the lack of window treatments to have some window treatments, and then the curtain over here to match as well. But as far as the wall scheme goes, this is exactly what I had in mind, and I'm really thrilled with the vibe and the mood of this space. This is, of course, before noon here, before lunchtime today, kind of light I'm getting in here. And then at nighttime, things really come alive, so I'll show you what this space looks like in the evening as well. I'm not gonna lie, folks, I spent way too many hours doing the gold leaf on the butterflies and moths above us right now this morning, and at one point there's no rug here anymore because I was on the ladder and then the gold leaf and glue fell off the ladder and spilled all over the rug. And I don't know how you clean glue out of a cheap rug, so that rug is no longer with us. But it was probably worth it, right? Because now there's gold leaf moths in this black hallway, and this little multicolored LED lantern is hanging in here, and it's pretty fun, let's face it. And there is a gold Luna moth above this doorway as well, though you cannot really see it. And this is the little hallway that leads into the living room, of course. But I just thought it would be fun to do a little transformation out here as well. So this is kind of tacked on to this makeover, I suppose. So that is where the living room, the Salon, Forêt, is at right now. That's what I've been calling it, like it's some sort of a secret nightclub, which no one gets invited over, so it really is very she and very exclusive. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing how this project came together over the last few weeks. It's not really finished, it never really will be. That's the thing about decorating that's a little bit different from clothing. Clothing, I can say something is definitively done, but rooms, they're changing all the time. Different books, different things. Things can be rearranged, pillows can be switched out, so I'm sure I'll be making adjustments to this room over time, but the main decorations are now in place. It was very fun for me to mock something up in Photoshop and really just translate that almost exactly into reality. In any case, thank you as always for watching today, and thank you to my patrons for making my work possible. And as always, I'll be back with more sewing, vintage fashion, costuming, crafting, and decorating real soon, so I'll see you then. Bye.